Hello again, welcome back to the Memory Lab. Today we're going to do a tutorial of how to capture and digitize a VHS tape through our VCR and our software that we have here on the Memory Lab computer. Let's get started. So the first step is you have to turn on our analog equipment. You'll hit the power switch on the cart and then on the VCR itself. Then you'll load your VHS tape in, make sure that it's rewound. If you don't have it rewound, we can rewind it in the machine and insert it into the machine, not all the way yet. Logging onto the computer, which we've talked about previously, once you're on the desktop screen, the first thing you're going to use is this film reel here down in the applications bar called Blackmagic Media Express. The VCR is connected by cables to a piece of hardware that captures the video and audio signal from the VHS tape and then is able to convert it into a digital signal. And that first step is the capture. So I click on this film reel, which brings up our main display. There are three tabs in the main display, and we want the leftmost one, which is log and capture. It'll turn red when you click on it. You'll be able to see the tape as it plays. You won't be able to hear anything, but there are two audio channels for stereo sound, and you'll be able to see the sound moving on a bar graph so that you'll know that the sound is being captured. Remember that capturing from a VHS tape happens in real time. And so if you have like a 2-hour wedding or a full tape, just the capture portion is going to take that long. So time management is key with every Memory Lab project. Okay, so we're ready to go ahead and begin capturing. So I put in the tape, and then I'm going to hit the capture button, and then I'm going to hit play. And that will ensure that I don't miss anything from off the tape. So I hit capture and then play, and it will begin capturing. As it begins capturing, you'll be able to see a increasing timer, which shows you how much time has been captured so far. You'll also notice on the right-hand side of the screen that a file is being created. It's saving it automatically as it's being captured. And so you'll be able to watch it in the display, you'll be able to see the sound bars, and then it'll be capturing. Now, once you're done capturing, then we can move on to the next step. You'll want to hit stop on the tape before you hit capture in the software. So that ensures that you don't miss anything there. So I hit stop, and then I hit capture, and that will end the capture. And the file has now been created with the raw capture data. But the thing about a raw capture file is they have an enormous file size, and they're not something that other devices can read or understand easily. Even if you had a portable storage device that had the space to take a raw capture file, especially for like a 2-hour video, it won't take it. It'll say, I don't know what this is, I'm not letting you copy to me. And so we have to process it into a usable digital video file format. So we can, if we're not going to capture anything else, we can close the Media Express by going up to the name menu and hitting quit. When you quit Media Express, a little window is going to pop up and ask you if you want to save, and you're going to click Don't Save, because as I mentioned, it's already automatically saving as it's creating the file and capturing. So we click Don't Save, and then we can move on to the next software, which is called Handbrake. On the application bar on the bottom, it looks like a little pineapple with a drink next to it. So when you click on Handbrake, it will pull up the menu, and it will automatically bring up the window to choose the file, and it's called Open Source in the main menu of Handbrake. And so I have it preset to open up to select from the desktop, which is where the captured file saves to. And we select the file that we want to transfer from the raw capture into a usable digital format, and then I click Open in the window. Once I do that, it'll give a small preview of a scene from the video, and it will also load in the preset file settings that we have entered in the software, which is we put it into an MP4 digital file format, which is the standard video format right now. If you take a video with your smartphone and it saves it, it's an MP4 file. It's in standard definition, which on here it says H.264. You're not going to get high definition off of VHS tape, so there's no reason to change that. It's set to 30 frames per second, and AAC stereo audio. Those are all the standard settings. If you wanted to adjust them, you could, but that's what we preset and recommend right here on the left side. Now, there are a couple of menus within Handbrake that people find useful if they need to do any filtering in addition to processing of the tape. So the main page here that it brings up first is the summary page, but then there's also dimensions and filters. Under the dimensions tab, if I click on that just to the right of summary, I get a couple options, and the two that people are most likely to use here are cropping and rotating. Let's say you took a video with a camcorder and for some reason whoever was holding it took the video upside down. We can rotate that in the software so that it comes right side up and you can see it properly. For cropping, let's say you're at a sporting event and you're up in the stands and you're recording what's going on down on the field, and there's some guy with a big head that's just right in the bottom of all of your camera shots. You can crop that out with the cropping here in the Dimensions tab of Handbrake. The next tab is the Filters tab. And the Filters tab is what we use to help clean up any what are called digital artifacts in the visuals of the tape. So if the tape has a lot of static or grains in the visuals, or if the color looks distorted, there are tools here to help correct those, and we use them on a case-by-case basis. So I won't explain them right now, but just so that you know that they are available if the quality of the tape is poor. So with that said, we've got it loaded, and we have it default saving right now to the desktop, but if you're doing multiple videos, we can change that by using this browse feature here. But we're just going to go ahead and hit start, and when we hit start, it'll begin processing it into a usable file format. And it'll give a short estimate of how long it's going to take. Usually a 2-hour tape will take about 15 to 20 minutes to process. So 2 hours for the capture, about 15 to 20 minutes for the processing. Now once it's processed, if you're satisfied with what you've captured, you can transfer it directly to digital storage. So you can plug in your flash drive or your external hard drive to the computer, and you can transfer it directly. If there are other things you'd like to do, I'm going to show you how to do those next. So with your new file, we can trim the file. So if there's static at the beginning or the end that you don't want on it, or maybe you've captured a lot, but then you realize that you only want a certain portion, or perhaps you have family members or friends that will each want a different portion of the video. The nice thing about once you've got it processed in this digital format is you can create copies, and then you can trim each of those copies to a different place according to what you need. But the software that we use for trimming is called Quicktime. If I click on Quicktime, you won't see a window pop up, but the menu in the upper left corner will change. And so I go up to the File menu for Quicktime Player, and I click Open File. And then I can select from the desktop the process file. So this is important. You want to make sure that you are trimming the MP4 file, not the .mov file, which is the raw capture. And so I click the MP4 and click Open. And then it will bring up a window to play the video. And once the window is up, then I go to the Edit menu of Quicktime at the top and go all the way down to the Trim option. And once you do that, it's going to bring up a yellow box around frame scenes from the video. And you can click and drag from either end of that box to trim on the front or the end. And the nice thing is if you want to get it right down to the exact frame where the static ends and your video actually starts, if you click and hold on the end, so we'll do it from the beginning. If I click and hold, it will actually move to individual frames. So you can literally go frame by frame, and as you scroll, it'll also give you a timer. So right now I'm at 84 hundredths of a second. just for example. But you can move in frame by frame until you see the video actually start. And once you get to where you'd like, then you can hit the trim button, and then the yellow box will disappear and it'll go back to the regular player. So once you've trimmed it though, you'll need to save it. So we go back up to the File menu and we click Save, and it will bring up a save box. And if you want it to replace the untrimmed video, you can just click the name of that file. So in this case, the MP4 for us, and then I can click Save. If you want to name it something else, you can just enter the name in the box for the name, file name, export as, and then click Save. So since I'm replacing it, I'll hit Save, and a little box will come up that says the file already exists. Do you want to replace it? And I'll click Replace, which is in red letters. And so now my trimming has been done to the file. And when you trim a file, it does get slightly smaller in storage size. So since we're done with QuickTime, I can go up to the name menu for QuickTime Player and choose Quit, and it will close. Now, if you aren't quite ready to put it onto a digital format, or if you want to put it onto DVD, the next step is to add metadata to the file. What is metadata? Well, if you put a DVD into your DVD player, for most DVDs, it doesn't just automatically start playing the movie right away. There will be some previews, and then it'll go to a main menu where you can select chapters or scenes or do setup. All of the information encoded on the disc that creates that structure is metadata. Likewise, if you have a music CD and you put it into a CD player or a computer, and the computer reads and brings up the cover art and tells you who the musician is, as well as the title of the album and the names of the tracks, that's all metadata. And to add metadata to a video file, we use a software called MetaZ. It looks like a little name tag that literally says MetaZ on it with a red edge. So I click on that, and it will bring up the MetaZ main window. And MetaZ, the process for it is super quick after you input your information. But you go up to the menu for MetaZ up at the top and click File and Open. And then you select the file that you would like to add the metadata to and click Open. And then MetaZ will try to figure out what kind of video file it is as far as genre goes. And the default is a home movie. So if you're doing a VHS of home videos that you've created, that's the default that pops up. And so you go ahead and click OK. And once you've done that, you have an option of inputting information about the file. And so you can put in, for example, the date when the video was taken. You can put in a short description of what's happening in the video. You can also go to the video tab, and you could even write in the people that are seen in the video. You could also include that in the description as well. But once you've put in the information you'd like to, then you can select the file from the Files to Write menu on the left. There's a little box to check mark. Then you'll click Write. And it literally usually takes less than a second. Bam, done. And then once it's done, you can transfer it to your digital storage. If you'd like to put it on a DVD, though, there are a couple extra steps. To put it on a DVD, we use a software called Burn. And there's a fire with kind of a radioactive symbol behind it. That's the Burn software down in the application bar. When you click on Burn and it brings up the Burn menu box, there are a couple settings that we want to make sure are set for creating a DVD video disc. To do that, we want to make sure that it's on the video settings. So there's Data, Audio, Video, and Copy. Click on Video. And then to the right of what you want to name the DVD, we want to make sure that it's under DVD, Video. And then down towards the bottom, you'll see Region, and we want to make sure that's set to NTSC, which is for North American DVD players. Unless you're sending it to a friend in Europe, then you can put it under PAL. But once you have that set, and decided what you're going to name the disk, you can drag the file into the box for Burn. When you do, you're going to see a message box pop up that says that the file is incompatible. And that's because all DVDs use only one type of video file called an MPEG-2. And so when you input the MP4 into the burn software, it will want to convert that into an MPEG-2 format. And here's a cautionary note. So we went from a raw capture, which was a huge file size, to an MP4, which is a very compressed file size. MPEG-2 is less compressed than MP4. And so you won't know how much space it'll take up on the DVD until it's converted to MPEG-2. So don't use the size of the MP4 as a judge of how much space it's going to take up on the disk. And all DVDs, standard DVDs, have a storage space of 4.71 gigabytes. And so if it takes up more space than that, it's not going to fit on the DVD. They do have dual layer DVDs as well, which hold 8.5 gigabytes. You can purchase them at the store. They are more expensive, but if you have a really long video and you want to keep it all intact, that's what you'll need to do if you want it on a DVD. Otherwise, you can always keep it in a digital file format, and maybe they'll invent a new disk technology that's even cooler. So we've got the little message that says it's incompatible, we need to convert it. So I'm going to hit convert. And then I'm going to select where I want it to save the file. In this case, I'll pick another folder and hit choose. And then it will start encoding from the MP4 into the MPEG-2. And once it's finished, you'll be able to see the title of the file as well as the size it will take up on the disk. Now, we plug in the DVD player into the Memory Lab computer, and when we insert a DVD and the computer system has read that there is a disk there, at the bottom of the burn menu, you will see the name of the DVD player, and you'll also see how much space is on the disk. So when you first put in a disk, if you haven't added a file into burn yet, it'll say 0%. That doesn't mean that it's full, that means it's empty. Once you add video files and they've been converted to MPEG-2, then it will show you how much of the disk those files are taking up space-wise. If that number is more than 100%, then it's not going to fit on the disk. But once you've done that and you've made sure that it'll fit on the disk, you can click Burn. A small menu will pop up telling you if you want to adjust the speed at which it's burning. Usually just the presets are fine, and so you'll hit Burn again, and then it will begin the burn process. Once the burn process begins, you'll see a number of phrases used, like writing, opening, and then writing, and then closing. And when it finishes, it will open up the computer's DVD playing program to preview the burned DVD. It'll go to a full screen, and it creates a simple menu for the DVD as well, so you can hit Start to begin playing the disc. But once you see that it's created the disc properly, you can hit the Escape key on the keyboard, and that will shrink it back down to a small window so that you can close it and exit it, and then you should see the DVD finished over on the right side of the screen, and that will let you know that it was burned successfully. You can right-click on the disc and click Eject, and it'll pop it out of the DVD player, and then your disk is ready to go. Likewise, if you transferred it to digital storage, you can right-click on the image for the digital storage and click Eject, and once it disappears from the screen, you're good to go. From there, your raw capture file and any other small files that you've created as you've been working with the software, you can move them to the trash, and then you're all set. It's an involved process, and it sounds like a lot, but if you take it step by step with practice, anybody can do it.